VLR.
If spending money like water was the answer to our country's problems, we would have no problems now.
You're listening to Modern Comments with your host, Amy Curtis, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Modern Comments here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I am Amy Curtis, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you'd like to get more involved with the program, you can do so by going to vigilantlibertyradio.us/chat, and you can listen to the stream live on that page, and if you scroll down, you can pick a username and a password and log in and join us in the chat room, or you can tweet me on Twitter at Modern Comments, and I will do my best to monitor my mentions feed and work your comments into the show. We are keeping it simple this evening, and I'm stealing kind of the theme from the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty, which you can hear Tuesday nights here on VLR with Alan Bordius and Crystal Schoenfeld, and the theme tonight is quoting Bill O'Reilly, fuck it, we'll do it live, because we're going to kind of wing it tonight, because that's the kind of week I've been having so far. So joining me this evening is my only guest, and my we can call you a regular now. What do you think, Dave?
I'm pretty regular, but I don't talk about it on us.
Oh, jeez. It took all of 2 minutes into the program for it to go right into the gutter. We can find you on Twitter at Charnina53219, CZARNINA 53219. And if you don't know how to spell it, go to my bio at Modern Comments, and you can click on it there because he's listed as my husband in my bio, because I will admit that publicly. Producing for us this evening is Taylor, who you can find on Twitter at EYE Desert Blog, iDesert Blog. How are you, Taylor?
Tired. But, it's kind of one of those, that's a state of being for me these days.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what it's like to have a full good night's rest.
I haven't, and Alan, thank you for saying that you will upload that to Spreaker for me. Thank you, Alan.
That'd be great. 'Cause we should have had it tonight, because that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard, that Bill O'Reilly clip. But I want to get into what I want to talk about tonight. You want to start off with the Oscar shorts?
Yeah, we had we finally got to go out for Amy's birthday this weekend. We went out to a local place in the East Side called Allium, which has all these wonderful small plates. Those can add up to you. And then we went over to the Oriental Theater, and they had deciding between Birdman and the animated Oscar short nominees, and we decided on the latter. It was a very, very enjoyable time.
Yeah, it wasn't a very long string, but they played all of the nominees, and then they played the highly commended animated shorts that didn't quite get nominated for an Academy Award, but did garner some respect, and I enjoyed all of them. Some of them were a little darker than others.
The Dam Keeper.
There's one called The Dam Keeper, and I believe that was from Canada and France.
No, that's U.S.
That's U.S.? That was the U.S.? Okay. And I think that one is going to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Short. I'm going to call it right now, but my favorite was the animated short Feast, which featured a dog. It was pretty much shown from the dog's perspective, of him meeting an owner and their relationship, and it was all based around the dog's love of the owner's food. And I thought that was probably my favorite of the nominees. But they had several of the highly commended ones that I also enjoyed.
Sweet Cocoon from France.
Yes, Sweet Cocoon from France. And I'm going to try and put a link to these up in the chat room, because they're worth watching. It took maybe an hour and 15 minutes to watch them back to back to back with little sort of fillers titles in between. But the Sweet Cocoon, you have to see it because it's funny, it's beautifully animated, and the ending you don't see coming at all. And everybody in the audience kind of audibly gasped and then laughed, and it was enjoyable. But of the highly commendable ones, I enjoyed one called, and this one was from France, The Bus Story.
Canada.
That was the one that was from Quebec. And it was about a woman who wanted to grow up and be a bus driver, and her first year on the job, which didn't go as smoothly as planned. And that one, I think, should have probably been nominated, other than one or two that was up there.
I enjoyed the first one, which was from Norway and Canada's collaboration of a young lady who's a middle sister of three living in a flat with her artist parents and about getting a bicycle. It was a very whimsical and occasionally poignant cartoon because it talks about their wish for a bicycle, how they didn't have things that other kids had, and how she envied her neighbors downstairs. Eventually, her downstairs neighbors' parents split up, and she appreciates more what she has, including her crazy grandmother who is babbling away in Norwegian.
Yes, the attention to detail in these shorts, and I think the shortest ones were no more than 6 or 7 minutes. 2 minutes was the shortest. Oh, that was The Dream. That was a highly commendable one.
No, the one with the record from the Netherlands.
Oh, the one with the record. Oh, yes, the one with the record, which I'm going to see if I can find the name, because there were so many of them that keeping all of them straight. But there was a short one that was 2 minutes that dealt with a time-traveling record, and that one was very, very clever. And it's amazing. I mean, we have 6-second Vines now, where people can tell a story in 6 seconds. But I'm still amazed that you can take and show a quality story in 2 minutes and have it be so enjoyable. But I'm going to predict it again. I'm saying right now the Dam Keeper is going to win Oscar for best.
Because it's unbelievably dark.
It is actually unbelievably dark. It has a happy ending, but there are some points in it that are very, very dark for an animated short. So if you haven't seen them, I did put a link up to that in the chat room. It's a lot of fun just to kind of watch and see. And it's one of my dreams to eventually see every Oscar-nominated performance and film and animated short and live-action short and do a full-on analysis of the Oscars. And they're coming up later this month, so I'm probably going to do some of my predictions of what I have seen, and I'm hoping to see Birdman and maybe something else.
Foxcatcher, maybe.
Maybe Foxcatcher, which looks intriguing. So
that looks really good.
Yeah, I don't even recognize. At first, I did not recognize Steve Carell, and if it's done well, I am a fan of when an actor known for a certain genre, Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, who are known for their comedic chops. However you may feel about Jim Carrey's politics and stuff over the past couple of years, I'm always intrigued when an actor who is known for a genre tries to break out of that genre. And when it's done well, and people may disagree with me, but I think Jim Carrey did very, very well in The Truman Show.
Oh, yeah, that's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
And vice versa, for a classic, Leslie Nielsen was known for dramatic roles until he was in Airplane. Although he did have one comic training as a guest star in MASH in the early 70s, where he played a colonel who had too many casualties and they decided to drive him crazy. But he's known more for dramatic roles, and Airplane turned everything around for him.
So, yeah, and I'm always a fan of that. So Foxcatcher is on the list of movies that I want to see. I don't know if I'm going to get to do that before the Oscars, but I am going to at least take a look at who's nominated and what for, and make some predictions on a future broadcast before the Oscars air, because one of the things we've talked about here is being culturally aware and being involved in the culture, even if we think some of it is disagreeable to our political sensibilities. And frankly, I like movies. I like being entertained. And if I went and saw movies and listened to music and watched TV shows that only aligned with my political views, I'd be very bored until the day I died. And it would probably become sooner rather than later because of that boredom.
And speaking of keeping you from being bored, I'm still working on the mindless 80 comedies that I grew up on.
Yeah.
I've already shown her Revenge of the Nerds.
We saw Porky's.
No, we haven't seen Porky's yet.
No, we saw Stripes.
Stripes, Revenge of the Nerds. You've seen Caddyshack already, right?
I've seen Caddyshack.
I found out that movie was like pretty much built around cocaine.
Yep, pretty much. But so I'm working my way of Cranky T-Rex. He's not in the chat room, but he will be happy to know when he catches the podcast, if he does, that I am working my way up to the list of movies that he's given me to watch that ever increases every time we talk and never seems to decrease.
One thing I find very funny about Leslie Nielsen is what I completely forgot was that he was in Forbidden Planet.
Yes, he was the star of that.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot that.
Because I don't think, unless you know history and you know movies and you're into that sort of thing, I don't think that I bet if you went on the street and told people, hey, do you know that Leslie Nielsen was a dramatic actor, they would go, no.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of people now that he's been gone for a couple of years would go, who's Leslie Nielsen? And not even know who he is, which makes me sad in and of itself.
Some older Milwaukeeans remember he actually did some commercials for Savings and Loan, local Savings and Loan, pretty straight up.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorite turns for him is from. Ever see the movie different vignettes called Creep Show, based on a comic book?
Wait, what? Say that again?
There's a movie called Creep Show. It's different short stories. Yeah. Stephen King was actually in it. It's based on a comic book, different stories, and he was the one who's found his best friend.
Oh, no. It's an homage to... It's an homage to the stuff that EC and the DC horror comics of the 1950s, like House of Mystery, House of Secrets, The Witching Hour, Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror, and The Haunt of Field. House of Mystery, by the way, was revived in 2008, written by Matthew Sturges and Bill Willingham. It's actually a really good series that went about 42 issues. And so anyway, that's me being a comic book.
Go ahead.
There.
No, but I love that you love comic books. I think that's fun. I love that. Boston Randy in the chat room mentions Leslie Nielsen was in Kentucky Fried Movie, and we have.
I don't think he was in Kentucky Fried. Was he in Kentucky Fried?
Yeah,
Movie?
I think he was in Kentucky Fried.
I'd have to look. I don't think he was, but I'll look that up. I know he.
But we have a connection to that, so we could find out because we know somebody who was involved with Kentucky Fried Theater and the Zucker brothers, and that's Milwaukee's own Dick Chudnow, who runs and started Comedy Sports, which is the venue where we happen to meet. So we have a connection to that. Yep. Yeah, and I think that I just caught that while we was looking through the chat room. So yeah, we have a connection to Kentucky Fried.
He was the man in Philorama movie.
Okay, so yeah, I've watched bits and pieces of Kentucky Fried Movie. I have to sit down and watch it all through again, but there's my little claim to fame that I'm by 6 degrees of separation connected to Leslie Nielsen now through somebody that I know from the local Milwaukee comedy scene. So excellent. And then I noticed in the chat room the conversation has shifted to talk of Brian Williams, and I know I said
deleted all of his tweets.
No, I have to correct you on that. That was reported, but apparently he's never tweeted from that account ever. He tweets out under the NBC Nightly News handle. So I'm guessing they probably set up that account for him just to make sure nobody else could tweet with that name. But he apparently has never tweeted at all. From that account.
Okay.
Yeah. So. And I, being busy during the day, I kind of missed this, but he is now saying and I'm quoting with radio air quotes, misremembered the time he said he was shot down in a helicopter in Iraq by enemy RPG fire. All the face palms in the world are not enough to make me go understand how you quote unquote remember
being shot
down by an enemy RPG, because I'm pretty damn sure that I would remember that and remember it pretty vividly. In fact, I don't think I would have slept from the day that happened.
I remember the time I woke up wearing a sombrero and fishnet stockings in a